Hello everyone. Thanks for joining me for tonight's episode. Tonight I'll be narrating a story from one of my subscribers. And again, as always, I remind you all to please be mindful and respectful in the comments field below. Sharing your personal stories is not always the easiest thing to do, so please take into consideration the time that these individuals spent writing out these stories and sharing them with us. And to the ones who submitted the stories over to me, I just wanted to give you another thank you for the content that you've provided. And of course, you guys will remain anonymous, and slight details and the names of the individuals within these stories have been altered to protect everyone's identity. So please sit back, put on a good pair of headphones or speakers, and let's begin. As my wife and I went to sleep, she slept on my chest, shoulder, and so I was sleeping facing up. I was dreaming and sleeping like normal until it switched to a different scenario. I remember in this dream, I was sleeping like I was, and my wife was sleeping on my chest. It was normal, but the room that we were in was different. It was white. There were windows showing off bright lights in my dream, and then suddenly, I heard a lady crying and praying. "Please God, help me. Help me get out of this." She kept asking for help, but the weird part was, I only saw my wife and myself in my dream. And so, I looked around in my dream, and that's when ringing, high-pitched noises came into my surrounding. Then it clicked in my mind that I was about to get sat on. In other terms, this event could be referred to as sleep paralysis. I looked down and saw this blurry figure sitting by my leg, and decided I had to kick this bitch off me or else I'm gonna get sat on. Right when I kicked it, it grabbed my leg, and my leg just froze in midair. I then felt a static sensation in my leg, like when your body part has fallen asleep due to loss of blood circulation in that area for a while. I couldn't move, and yet it was the most uncomfortable feeling ever. For whatever reason, whenever I get sat on, the last scary thing that I've watched, it tends to use that moment and scenario. Like this mother effer was stalking me this whole entire time to use this against me. I started to hear a demonic voice where it was 3 to 4 voices, but it comes from one person, like in that movie, The Exorcist. It was laughing at me and saying things like, "You won't be able to get out of this," and a ton of other things that I couldn't have cared less for. Tip number 1, mind over body. Remember, this is your mind, and you control it. If you know that 2 plus 2 equals 4, and a stranger comes along and tries to convince you that it's 6, then you need to slap yourself in the face. Remember that this is your body. This is your mind. Your mind, thoughts, and imagination are stronger than a random spirit that wants to control you. As I was getting sat on, and this thing was laughing at my face and telling me, "You won't get out," I leaned up in my dream and put my face up against it and said, "Boy, let me out of this, and let's fight face to face like real men. Don't pussy out and catch me off guard." I was ready to throw punches. Right as I said that, the spirit seemed to loosen up a bit, and it was like it knew that it couldn't convince me to give up. My anger overgrew me in the spirit. Suddenly, I wasn't scared, but rather pissed. The more I fought, I didn't go anywhere. I was kind of stuck in the same position. Tip number 2, move your legs. Have you ever had an older sibling or someone either sit on top of you by your chest as they grab your arms and pin them down to the floor, but you are still able to move your legs? This spirit is sort of using that same technique. When I was stuck, I decided to kick. My legs loosened a bit, but then it looked like the spirit was trying to hold on to my legs now. And so that's when I tried moving my arms, and then it would try holding on to my hands. It's like the spirit can only hold on to so many things at once, and so little by little, I felt more able to move. However, this spirit does tend to have a few tricks up its sleeve. When they come and sit on you, the energy that they bring can make you so tired. It's happened to me a few times now, to the point where I contemplate if I should just let it win so I can go to sleep, or fight it and lose sleep. Either or is fine. I've done both. Remember tip number 1, mind over body. You won't die if you tell yourself this. Most times I just say that I'm tired and then sleep. When I wake up, the spirit is gone, and it's almost like a blurry dream that you don't know if it's real or fake. Back to the story. So I decided to fight it. My body was super tired, and so was my mind. Every time I loosened an arm, I would get tired. Every time I loosened a leg, I would get tired. And this tiredness wasn't so much exhaustion. It was just more of sleepiness. I fought and kicked myself out of getting sat on, and that spirit just laughed at me hysterically in my little episode there. But when I woke up, there was nothing there. I was back in my original room. The spirit had put me into multiple dreams, realms, to fool me into thinking that I was in a setting where I was in a bright room with windows. But I woke up to it being 3:30 a.m. in my bedroom, in the dark, with my wife. I was sleeping facing up, and my wife had rolled away to the side of the bed. Tip number 3, don't sleep facing up. When you sleep facing up, this makes you an easy target and extremely vulnerable to the things that can happen to you if you ever get sat on. Instead, try sleeping on your sides, as this will help you gain leverage into getting out of the situation. This doesn't really stop you from getting sat on, but it does give you a bit more advantage to help you fight it off. Tip number 4, sleep by someone. When you sleep, you'll need some type of physical contact. Holding or having a hand or feet on top of someone. Remember that 2 people, 2 forces, can overcome 1. Unless you're both weak-minded, then I can't help you there. I was sleeping facing up. I turned to my wife and put my hands on her. I'm sleeping on my side now. I listened and I realized that I was breathing heavily, and I just listened to what was going on. This is reality now. I can move, see my wife, and I'm in control. Nothing was holding me down or telling me what I could and couldn't do from that point on. Tip number 5, use a pillow. Sometimes just having a pillow on top of you, or wrapping your arms or legs around one, helps prevent you from getting sat on. I was still mad, so I turned to the opposite end of the bed and slept on my side, waiting for round 2.